Welcome to Beadwork Tutorial Tuesdays, Beadwork for Beginners. Today I am teaching you how to bead a rope. Beaded ropes can be used for necklaces, lanyards. You could make like a wristlet, attach it to your keys. You could attach it to a medallion and make a beaded rope like that. The supplies you're gonna need today. Paracord, I found mine at Michael's, I think. Just this paracord. They come in different colors. Actually, I think I got this at Hobby Lobby. Craft store, that's where I found it. Paracord, you're gonna need a lighter. You're gonna be singeing a lot of things today. So this melts, this paracord melts, and you're gonna wanna singe the end so it doesn't fray. Scissors, I am using size, where's my needle? It's always a little bit scary when you lose your needle, especially when you have kids. All right, size 12 John James Sharps beading needle, size D nylon thread. I always use nylon thread, especially on these beaded ropes, because nylon melts. You're gonna be singeing a lot of ends. So nylon melts down real nice. I am using size 11 seed beads. So these seed beads I bought on powwowfabrics.com. I have the link to her store in my bio. She also sells a lot of other beading supplies like wax. I think she sells that nylon thread, needles, beads. She sells all the things. So I usually go to Nicole, Powwow Fabrics, for my beading supplies. Anyways, let's get right into the tutorial. All right, let's do this. I have my size 12 John James Sharps beading needle, my nylon thread. I did a double knot. So this cord has kind of big holes. Like I don't want this to slip through. Anyways, let me just show you. So I'm gonna wax up my thread like usual. Waxed thread equals less tangles. Of course, I can't make a video without tangles though. Okay, let's wax that up one more time. So I have my parachute cord, and actually what is it called? Paracord, yeah. I made sure to singe the ends so they don't fray. You know what I'm saying? They don't fray on the ends. So I also like to leave about 2 inches or so slack so you can attach it to whatever you want to attach it to. What you're going to want to do is come up from the bottom, wrap it around, I'd say like 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Let's come back up through it, through that wrap. And now it's nice and secure. This end, let's snip that off, singe it down. So nylon thread melts. And you can singe it right to that so it's a nice clean start. All right, let's take our beads. I am using size 11 seed beads, and I'm gonna put on probably around like 50 or so. When you are doing beadwork, I always suggest to pre-plan your design. It just makes beading go so much easier, so much smoother. You're not trying to design as you go. I'm also not counting beads. You can totally count beads and do this very precise and very exact, but since I'm doing it just one color, I am not going to do that. So what you're going to want to do is hold these beads on there so they're not sliding around all loosey-goosey. You're going to want to hold this tight, and it's all about finding what works for you. I like to wrap the beads around itself like this. Some people like to actually turn the cord. It's all about finding what works for you. There's no like, oh, you have to do it this way. All right, so I wrapped it around. I'm also gonna wrap this around once more, just for extra secureness. I'm gonna come up through the bottom, and I'm gonna come back through those last 2 beads, if I can. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And now we're ready to add on more beads. So let's go again. After this one, I'm going to show you how to end and start a new thread. Okay, so if I were doing it precise, I would be counting out my beads, but I'm not. Guys, can you hold it together for a little bit while I make this video? I can tell they're on the verge of totally freaking out over there. Take your time. Take your time with this. Don't rush through things. So let's wrap it. 1, 2, 3. I don't know why I'm counting. When you get to the end, wrap it around once for extra secureness. Come back up through the bottom, preferably without stabbing yourself. If I were doing this normally, I would have these really close to my face or have my readers on. I don't know why I didn't put my readers on, but I'm doing this blindly. All right, so say we needed to add some new thread. Oh, you want to know what that's not going to work? If you need to add a new thread, don't come up through these because all that needle and all that thread is not going to fit through that bead 3 times. So let's add on a little bit more beads, a few more beads, and then we will do the new thread. I always forget that. So add some beads. You're like, oh, I'm getting really close to the end of my thread. I think I need to start a new one. And there's a couple ways to do this. Let's just do one thing at a time. Let's wrap this first. Okay, I'm gonna hold that there. So wrap it around once more for extra secureness. And I am going to come up through this, but I am not going to come back through those last 2 beads, okay? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tie a knot. And you wanna know what? Some people do the thing where you would come back up through those last 2 beads and tie on a new string to the old string. I don't trust it. I don't know. But I'm not saying that's wrong. Like, if that works and you have found it to work, do it. Me, I just don't trust it. I prefer to start a whole new string. So I'm going to tie a knot. I'm going to make it real close down to the end there. I should do a double knot. I think I'm going to. I'm going to do a double knot and I'm going to singe it down. Sully, will you help Mick with his iPad, please? Okay. Double knot. Now I'm going to singe it down. So get that real close. Why am I shaky? I must have had a lot of caffeine. Here we go with the tantrums. Okay, let's singe that down real close. And let's start a new thread. For time-saving sake, I'm not going to start a new one actually. I'm just going to tie a knot on the old one. Sully, can you please help him for a couple minutes while I finish up this video? I'm going to do a double knot. Okay, and now I'm going to come up through those last 2 beads. All right. Come up through those last 2 beads, but this leaves a little problem. Like, what about this knot out here? I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to singe it down. All right. Then when I wrap, I'm going to make sure I press it pretty close together so the knot is hidden. I hope that makes sense. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, let's add on some more beads. Okay, and let's wrap it around, and I'm going to use my thumb to push the beads nice and tight. Okay. Wrap it around. And, uh-oh, where's the end? Wrap it around once. My fingers just feel like huge fingers today. Okay. back up and through those last 2 beads. All right. Yeah, see there's that gap there. Just make sure you fill it in, hide those knots as well as you can. You always, if you don't like that, you're like, oh, that little space right there is gonna drive me bonkers, try the other way. Try it. What you do is you clip it and you tie the string, the new string, to this one, and you get the knot real close to that last bead. You wanna know what? I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna try and teach that way. I like to do it this way. Let's add on a little bit more beads and then I'm gonna show you how to attach it. Just know there's more than one way to do things. You don't have to do it exactly as I'm saying. This is just a guide to get you started. All right, wrap it around once more. Come back through, say I'm done. I am done, I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna come back up, I'm gonna come back down, just for extra security, and I'm gonna tie my knot. Hooray, I beaded my rope, I am all done. Tie your knot real close, always double it. Okay, cut it, singe it. Hooray, we've beaded a rope. All right, so a couple ways to attach it. You can attach it to a medallion, which is like this. Make it into a nice necklace. Always sew your beadwork. I already put a backing on this. You would sew it directly onto your beadwork first. Then you would add your backing on top of that, your leather or whatever. Flip it around. This would already be cut out, you know what I'm saying? And then edge it however you want to edge it. Does that make sense? Another way would be to add it to like a key ring. So these ends would be a little bit shorter, singed, and I would sew it on to like a piece of leather. Sew these ends on right there. Add your key ring. And then sew that right there by hand. I hope this tutorial was helpful, and I will see you guys next week for Beadwork Tutorial Tuesdays.